Hi, my tubies, my Teletubbies. It's me, Sheila Truelove, and I'm truly happy to be with you here today throughout this coronavirus. I hope you're all keeping your head up, and I hope you are all in a positive state of mind. I am so happy today because I didn't have to go to work. I thought today's Thursday. I was supposed to go in like on Mondays and Thursdays, but the attorneys that I work with informed me yesterday that you don't have to come in. No one has to come in until further notice with pay. Not to mention, I don't know what they're talking about. Like on CNN, they're talking about this stimuli or stimulus check that they're sending to everyone. If you're single, you receive $1,200. If you are a couple, then that's $2,500. And if you have children, then it's $500 per child. Go on your Google, check that out. Look into that the stimulus that everyone is going to receive if you make less than $75,000 a year. I make less than $75,000 a year. Am I looking forward to the stimulus check? Yes. Yes. Woohoo! So there are some benefits as long as you stay home. Please don't take that lightly. When it comes to them telling you to stay home, don't forget to wet your throat every 15 minutes, every half hour. Just drink a lot of fluids. And don't forget to disinfect the doorknobs and all of that. I have my house so disinfected, it's like a hospital in here. It's like a hospital, literally. Whew. Unfortunately, my roommate, she still has to work every day. The girl works every single day. But she's one of the people who she has a really amazing job. She's one of the people who is helping to come up with a cure. She works in pharmaceuticals and she does all this cure stuff, working with formulas, and she's brilliant, to be honest with you. Um, and she works every day, 7 days a week. She's unreal. I love this girl. I admire her greatly too. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to talk about how to heal from a broken heart. Because I still have some of my tubies, now that I have more than enough time, I have had several emails that I've had time to work with, which is on a donation basis. Whatever you decide to donate, I will definitely answer your questions along with taking phone calls. I leave my phone number with my email in the comment section. And I've been taking the calls and I've been answering, pecking away. You see, Sheila True Love. I got time. What? I'm answering questions and I do a lot of research. So I put the work in. Trust me when I tell you. And I have some of my tubies who are still going through broken hearts, wondering if their narcissist is going to call them back. Do you think they'll hoover me? Do you think they'll call? Do you think, even though they know that they're busted and I busted them in wrongdoing, uh, you know, Sheila, I listen. I'm a great listener because that's a skill. That's something everyone can't do. Anytime you're a good listener. Anyway, I have someone who I would like to introduce you to. His name is Lewis Speaks, and he has some really good tips on how to heal from a broken heart. And as he's sharing these tips with you, you know how I like to do. I like to do he said, she said, and like I do with Derek Jackson, who I absolutely adore and love, along with my MJ Harris. He's amazing too. He has a huge personality, a big personality like mine. He's very animated. He's a character. I'm a character. You know what I mean? Anyway, without further ado, here's Lewis Speaks.
Hey everybody, this is Lewis Speaks 2020, and today I want to talk to you about how to get over a breakup. The first step to getting over a breakup is to accept the reality that the person that you were with never loved you or never cared about you in any real way. And a lot of us are still stuck in this illusion. We still believe that the person we were with cared about us and loved us, but the reality was that if they loved us, it would have lasted. It would have endured. And it's very traumatizing to wake up and realize that all the magical moments that you spent with someone, all the kissing and hugging and touching and sex and dates, it all was just part of the moment for this person. It was never, I guess, part of their lifetime or their vision for a lifetime. And so coming to terms with that reality that the person you were with never loved or cared about you in any real way is a bitter pill to swallow. And a lot of us are stuck in disbelief. We're suspended in disbelief. We can't believe that the person we were with, the person that we invested in, and the person that we gave time, energy, resources to turned out to be a fraud. You know, a lot of people out here have relational trauma. They just cannot believe that the people that they were with were just nothing but an illusion. And
Now, how many of us can identify with that? I know when I got my heart broke the first time with Gregory Elliott, which was the love of my life, and I was traumatized. I was so traumatized that I actually almost went out to walk in front of a bus. You can't believe I put my life out there on the line for that man. Trust me, in more ways than I care to share. But that was the love of my life, and when he cheated on me, I told you that's something you can't come back from when it comes to me, Sheila True Love. You can't come back from that. Not with me. Because sex is sacred. Sex is tying your soul to someone else. I know what orgasms are, and so do you. And anytime you're going to share something that intense and that passionate and that deep with someone else, no, I can't come back from that because I can't help but keep thinking about this is what you're doing with someone else. You're sharing this type of intimacy, this type of oneness with some what? No, I can never be sexual with you again. It ain't gonna happen. It don't work for me. Other people could get past it. I could get past many things, two bees. Cheating is not one of them. Someone putting their hands on me physically, that's another. The first time someone put their hand on you should be the last time. The first time someone cheats on you, cutthroat, that's cutthroat. They cut your throat. They had no regard for you whatsoever. That should be the last time. And life has taught me that. So, like my Lewis Speaks here says, a lot of people are traumatized. PTSD. This is like people who went into war. It was a war. It explosive. You saw people's bodies killed and blown apart. Your heart was blown apart. You literally sat there and watched yourself, your whole freaking life blow apart. That's traumatizing. It's PTSD moments.
oftentimes, especially if you're dating a narcissist or you're
Oh,
with a narcissist, you will leave the relationship filled with trauma
thank you.
and filled with doubt and a host of other insecurities and fears, you know, because that's their job. Their job is to leave you in a state of confusion so that way you could be forever bound to them. That's why sometimes when you leave a narcissist, you feel as though you're kicking drugs because the highs and the lows, you know, the emotional roller coaster that they take you on can be very, very draining and toxic and confusing and also addictive, you know? So it's part of that. That's step one on how to get over a breakup is coming to accept the reality that for one, the relationship is over and that the person never really loved you in any real way, you know? And part of the grief process when you're grieving anything, the first stage is denial. We often deny our pain. We often deny that the people or the persons that we love never really loved us back, and it's hard. It's really hard. But the first step in getting over anyone who has hurt you, who no longer is in your life, is coming to realize that this person was not rooted in you. They were not part of your forever. They did not love you in a way that you needed to be loved, you know, in a way that you understand. You know, they didn't speak your love language, you know, and coming to realize that is the most difficult thing. And you will cry You will get angry. You will bargain. You will get depressed. You will run through the full gamut of emotions and grief. But that's part of coming to terms with the reality. Because once you do that, then step two is part of rebuilding your self esteem, your identity, your love of self. You know, you basically start to do things that make you feel alive, and healthy things, not drugs or alcohol, things that destroy you. No, healthy things like taking a new class, spending time with friends and family, spending time alone, journaling, meditating, doing something new, because if you want to feel something different, you have to do something different.
I love that point that he brought out. If you want to feel something different, you have to do something different. If you want to feel good, you have to do things that are good. Drugs is not good. Turning to alcohol is not good. I know I turned to alcohol. I was like, the only reason why I didn't turn to drugs is because, nah, that goes way too much against the Bible. But I know that Jesus Christ, he drank wine, he had weddings, he turned water into wine. Everything was about alcohol. Alcohol. If you want to help make your heart rejoice, a little alcohol will help make your heart rejoice. That's why I leaned that way, and that's not the way to go. Because that caused me to lose. Well, not really, but it created problems with me and my family. It really did. Which I keep trying to make up for that, but that's neither here nor there. But like Lewis Speaks is saying, you want to feel good, do things that are good. You want things to do better or feel different, do things that are different if you want to feel different. I love this man. I really do. He's right up there with not Jesse Jackson. He's right up there with my Derek Jackson. You know how much I love him. Absolutely. So if you see me with my fan, it's because I feel warm. It's actually nice everywhere else, and I could turn on my air condition, but then you would hear the air condition in the background, and you wouldn't hear everything as clearly as I'd like for you to hear it. So I'm doing this. You know how it is when you get a certain age, you get those power surges. Those power surges, honey. And the way I see these power surges is it helps to make me feel more feminine. It makes me aware that you are a lady, Sheila, and do you feel those power surges happening to you? How feminine is this? It's fabulous.
So if you want to feel good, then you have to do things that are good for you.
Thank you.
You know, they have a saying, move a muscle, change a feeling. When you're actually exercising, doing things that are good for you, definitely. That's part of rebuilding yourself, because you have to throw out the old identity. The old you that continue to tolerate foolishness, that continue to stay in relationships even when you were being abused and lied to and played. You have to throw out that old person. That old person no longer exists. You have to build a new person. You have to be reborn. And it's this renaissance and this rebirth that is going to save you. So what you're going to have to do is try new experiences, go to different venues, travel, do different things to build your love of self back up again. Because I believe, like I don't know anyone's story, but in everybody's relationship history, there was always a person that just attacked their self-esteem, that made them feel low. And so you have to go back and basically build yourself back up again and try to recover from such a.
I could definitely identify what he's saying here. How there has always been someone in your life who has attacked your tried to tear down your self-esteem. Who no, actually, in a lot of people's cases, have tore down their self-esteem. I have never let anyone tear down my self-esteem because I know who I am. You know what I mean? I know what I have to bring to the table. I feel that and you know what else helps me not to let anyone tear down my self-esteem, because I keep in mind that scripture in the Bible where it says God says that no one comes to his son unless he draws them to his son. So if God has seen fit or have seen me as such an amazing person that he has drawn me to his son Jesus Christ, because I am a follower of Christ. And not everyone in this world is. You have some people who are Buddhists, people who are atheists. You have some people who are uh, uh, they're not followers of Christ. So if God has seen fit to draw me, there's something real special about me. That God has seen fit to draw me to his son, that in itself has got my ego like way up there, crazy up there. You know what I mean? Along with, I know that I think I'm a decent person. I'm a good person. The Bible says no one is really good here on earth in an earthly term. I know. I'm not going to say I think. I know I'm a good person. I know that I have a lot to offer. I'm a motivational person. I inspire people. You know what a gift it is to be able to motivate people, and what a gift it is to inspire people. Do you know how hard it is to get up out of bed when you're depressed? Some people are totally immobilized when they're depressed. They can't shower, they can't feed themselves, they can't hardly get out of bed. And anytime you have the gift that God has given you to motivate and inspire people, that's a beautiful thing. And I am one of those people that God has chosen or has ordained me to be able to do that. I listen to a lot of my tubies, and I ride the bus going to work. And I have like my bus crew, and there's a lot of us that talk or what have you. We usually have topics. And a lot of people on this bus tell me, you know what? You should be a counselor. You should be they tell me you should be a counselor because you give such good advice, Sheila. And that makes me feel so good. And it's not about ego. It has nothing to do with ego. It has to do with being able to help people. You know, this world is a concrete jungle. It's rough out here trying to get through from day to day. And anytime we could help each other and motivate each other and uplift each other and inspire each other to make it to the next day, that's a beautiful thing as far as I'm concerned. You know? Anyway, let's get back to Lewis Speaks.
An assault to your self-esteem. So that's the second step, doing new things that are healthy to rebuild your love of self, you know?
Yeah,
The third step I would say is, what lessons did you gain? Kind of just picking apart that last
that's
relationship,
a good
picking
point.
it apart.
Yeah?
What did you learn from that experience? And to be honest, the lessons can keep on coming. I'm still getting exploding epiphanies from I guess, from every relationship I've ever been in. You know, I'm still waking up and getting these new insights and these new exploding epiphanies about how I behaved, how they behaved, because it's not just a one-way street. We have to also take accountability for our role and know that we're not victims. We're not victims, you know? Yes, people have hurt us. Yes, people have played us. But what was our role in that? Did we turn a blind eye? Did we bury our heads in the sand? Did we pretend that we didn't see the game? Did we ignore?
I hear where he's coming from, and he's right. What lessons did you learn from it? And we can't turn a blind eye to say that, we were totally victims. I think a lot of the reasons why people tend to turn a blind eye, if you will, is because we are constantly told in this world, constantly, well, nobody's perfect. Well, nobody's perfect. So I can't speak for my tubies out here or for everyone. I know the reason why I turned a somewhat of a blind eye. I'm not good at turning my eye too much, but I've done it. I'm guilty. I've turned my blind eye when I knew that this behavior is not acceptable. You know what I'm saying? You are passing my boundaries. What are boundaries? Boundaries are letting people know what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. You're showing people how to treat you and how not to treat you if we're going to try to get along here. That's what it means to set boundaries. The way you're treating me, no, that's not okay. Okay? And if you want to continue to have me in your life or in this relationship, I think you're going to really have to try to definitely, actually, I don't think, I know you're going to have to make some necessary adjustments, sweetheart. Okay? But the reason why I put up with a lot of crap that I should not have put up with is because no, I kept this thing drilled in my head. Well, nobody's perfect, and that's what everybody keeps telling you. Like when you speak to a trusted friend and you're telling them what's going on, or you speak to a counselor or what have you, and the first thing a counselor or a person, most of the people will say, "Well, honey, you have to understand, well, nobody's perfect." Yeah, and I keep thinking in my head, in the back, I don't say nothing because I don't want to seem like I'm argumentative. But in the back of my head, I'm like, the things that I'm asking for, you don't have to be a perfect person to do this. You don't have to be a perfect person to treat people the way you want to be treated. How come you got to be perfect to do that? You don't. My biggest problems with dudes that I've been with is this wandering eye, this constantly disrespecting me. And every human being I've looked at other women and other men as in a glance. Do you know what a glance is? A glance is this. And then you look away. Not this, and you get stuck, and you're looking at their behind, and you're looking if they got this hanging out. You're constantly stuck and looking, and you look way too long. That's disrespectful. Or if you're sitting around trying to sneak it, like the person is passing, and you see your partner's eyes going like this. They're stretching and they're stretching it till they're almost popping out their eyeballs on the side. Come on already. That bothers the hell out of me. Boundaries. Don't do that. You know why? Because I don't do that to you. I do not disrespect no man. I've never disrespected a man that I've been with. And I've seen some gorgeous looking guys, especially when I was in the city. Men on the train and walking around with biker pants. And sometimes they had their joint, they had their freaking, kind of erect, laying on the side of their leg. They got their bike, or they're just walking around with these biker pants. And what about those wife beater shirts? And they got nice bodies. And some of these men, they be working out and they got these nice abs. You look at some of these dudes, nice butts, nice and toned. I'm not blind. And I want to look too longer, but I have a partner. So I don't do those things. We're not animals. We don't have to act on impulses. We can control our impulses. That pissed the hell out of me off. Or you have dudes who are sitting around, they don't care. They don't care how they make their wife or their woman feel. You're sitting up here watching porno. Most of the porno that these dudes look at, the women don't look nothing like their wives, not even close to them. That's insulting. The message you're sending me, I can't speak for you two because you have some females who they don't care about that. They just don't care. Fine and good. Everybody has to respect everybody's viewpoints, everybody else's ideas, and I'll give you that. But that don't work for me. And the reason why that don't work for me is because I'm a hardworking woman. I cook, I clean, I work a full-time job. Sometimes I'm working overtime. I help pay bills. I do the laundry. I prefer to run my home, to do my household. That's just me. All I ask a man to do is clean the bathroom once a week and take out the garbage. That's all I expect from a dude. And for him to be a provider, definitely do the heavy lifting, pay the rent, pay the utilities, and the food. Those are necessities. That's what I expect. I take care of the rest. I'm also helping pay bills. I pay cable. I'll pay the cable. I do the Wi-Fi. I contribute towards food. I also save money because nobody's job is promised to them. None of us know when we're going to fall on hard times. Somebody's got to have some money to save up in here. Then we want to go on vacation. My money is for that too. I'm not a hard woman to please. I'm very, very reasonable. But then you have these. I know I hear a lot of women. They're complaining. He's always wants to watch porno, 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 porno. That means he's not satisfied with you. Don't give me this garbage about no. It's the fantasy. Everybody wants to live the fantasy. Nobody wants reality. Why don't they want reality? Hurts. Reality is ugly. All reality is not ugly. There are a lot of things wonderful going on in the world too. There's good things going on in the world too. But everybody wants the goddamn fantasy. So, considering you want the fantasy, I get it. You need to pack your stuff and go stay over there with that fantasy. Let her do the work. Let her take care of you when you're sick. Let her be your on-call call girl. Let her be the secretary. Let her do your laundry. Let her do the cooking, the cleaning, the sewing, the ironing, the whatever else you need, man. Because I'm not doing it. I lose my motivation when I see dudes lusting after somebody else. That pisses me off. Turn off. I'm doing all the work. She gets all the glory. That don't sit well with me because it's not fair. I know we don't live in a fair world, but I should have fairness in my home and in my relationships. I deserve that. I deserve it. That's why I don't tolerate just be no man cheating on me. Don't you ever cheat on Sheila True Love. It's done. It's done. But like Lewis Speaks was saying, we're not victims. We turn a blind eye when we see someone doing things wrong. And the only reason why I have turned a blind eye and let somebody disrespect me, and I have angrily resentment, is because everybody keeps trying to tell you, well, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. So you try to take the bitter with the sweet. You try to. And I can take the bitter with the sweet in most areas, but not in being disrespected. Because men prefer respect over love. I want to be respected too. I'm a human being too. And the only reason why I put up with that crap, but you know how Sheila True Love get down. Married twice, engaged to be married a third time. Too many red lights that third time. Not that ain't happening. I've never had a problem when it comes to a man marrying me. I've always been in long-term relationships. I've never been in anything less than 3 years. They're always 3 years, 8 years, 9 years. My last husband, it was 11 years. You know what I'm saying? But there's but so much I'm going to put up with. Come on already. You start disrespecting me, not appreciating me, I'm done. And the only reason I turned a blind eye for as long or for whatever periods that I I've done is because of this people constantly listening to people. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. I don't expect you to be perfect. I expect at least 80% out of a relationship. 20% you get to screw up. 20% go ahead, screw up, but you better not screw up in the wrong areas. Cheating, you can't screw up on that. Putting your hands on me, you can't screw up on that. Drug usage, you can't screw up on those three things. You can't. Spitting in God and Jesus Christ's face, that's four. You can't do that either. You don't give a damn how God feels about anything. You're not God-fearing. You don't give a damn. You give Jesus your middle finger. No, that's not going to work for me. You sit around here, you think it's okay to use drugs, messing up your brain. I'm the one that's going to have to deal with the dummy, the brain damage. Drugs destroys your brain cells. And now what am I stuck with? A dumbass. No, I can't do it. I'm not doing it. And then after they coming down off the drugs, their mood starts swinging, they're mean, they're hateful. Why should I have to live with that? Single, SINGLE, means stress is now gone, life's easier. Who doesn't want a life that's easier? I do. Single works for me. Have a roommate, it's beautiful. Best thing that I've ever made, the best decision I've ever made, really. And I like dating anyway because people treat you better. The dudes treat you better. They're more generous. They're busting their behind to try to please you and trying to impress you. They don't sit around expelling gas all in front of you, burping like crazy all in front of you, looking stupid and don't take care of their hair. And they work to impress you when you're dating them. It's wonderful.
Ignore the red flags because we were so lonely and so desperate for company that we just ignored the red flags. We got to take ownership of that, you know? So
I hear where he's coming from with that. I didn't ignore the red flags because I was desperate or because I was that lonely. I ignored the red flags because, like I said, I don't like to be redundant. Nobody's perfect. Everybody keeps telling you to give people breaks. You got to lighten up. And then I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. As a Jehovah's Witness, we're taught to cater to the man. God created me as a man's helper, and that's true. That is why God created the woman as his helper, not his floor mat, though. God did not create me for you to treat me poorly, and I'm supposed to put up with abuse. Because God also tell men in the Bible how they're supposed to treat a woman, especially your wife. You're supposed to love her the way you love yourself. You feed, you cherish, you nurture, you make sure you're going to take care of yourself. That's why a man is supposed to take care of his wife, his partner. And if you can't do that, if men can't do that, they should stay out of women's faces. Stay out of the arena, baby. If you can't treat a woman the way God and Christ said you're supposed to, stay single. Stay that way. If you know that you want to still continue to sleep with other people, do you. By all means, do you, babe. Ain't nobody trying to rain on your parade. Do you. At the same time, don't bring innocent people and hurt innocent people unnecessarily, because that's horrible. That makes you a monster. That's what that makes you.
That's part of the I believe that's the third step, you know, is basically just, doing your self inventory, trying to figure out the lessons. What did I learn from this experience? I learned so much in my last relationship, in the stuff.
What I learned from my relationships, I don't mean to cut you off, Lewis speaks. Well, now Sheila's going to speak. I was just like, anyway, what I've learned out of every relationship that I've been in that did not work is always follow that gut feeling. And that's something that I didn't trust, because I kept thinking that, well, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm overreacting, maybe I'm just being too demanding, maybe I'm being too no. Mm-mm. Going forward, my tubies, my Teletubbies, let me rub your bellies and all the above. Follow that gut feeling. That feeling you get in your gut when you know something is not right. I constantly kept getting that feeling in my gut with my last marriage with my ex, dust mite. Mm-mm. Something kept telling me this is not a faithful man. This dude is not on the up and up. Something's not right with this character. Even when we would sit in the kitchen and have our Bible studies, or in the living room having our Bible studies, and every time we did lessons on marriage and family, and it was talking about being faithful in marriage and how a husband is supposed to treat his wife and a wife is supposed to treat her husband, and the way he respond, I would see the way he would respond to certain things. And my gut, it's right in my gut, it messed up. It act up. It was like I never really knew. But then you learn. When your gut is acting like that, that's called intuition. And what is intuition? Intuition is Jesus Christ talking to you. Intuition is Jesus Christ doing everything in his power to try to protect you, to tell you to get out of this. Run, get out of this. This is not right. I remember this one time my ex-husband came home, my ex-narc recently, thus might, and he came into the bedroom, and I remember him at the door, the way he came in. And there was something that hit my gut so horribly. It was horrible. And I knew he had just did something he had no business doing. I knew it. I just knew it. How do you know that? I don't know how to explain it. How do we explain this? And another instance, when he came to my job on my lunchtime and he brought me flowers. And I could look at his face and his body language, and I could see he had just did something he wasn't supposed to do. I took those flowers. He thought that I kept them or whatever. I took them when I got inside in my job, and I threw them right in the garbage. I threw them in the garbage. Jehovah's my witness. Jesus Christ is my witness. I threw them right in the garbage can, because I felt in my gut, my intuition, Jesus Christ speaking to me. He had just got through coming from some dirty freaking pig's house like he used to do before he used to go to work. make a quick stop over here, a quick stop over there, doing crap he had no business doing. And I knew this because I felt it in my gut. So whenever you get this feeling, listen to it, because that's Jesus Christ talking to you. Now, are you going to choose to listen to Jesus Christ? You may not choose to listen to other people or whatever the hell, but when it comes to Jesus Christ talking to you, honey, your intuition, please save yourself a lot of pain and listen to that, please. It will never lead you wrong, ever.
Myself, what I've learned, I can tell you right now, the most salient lesson that I've learned from our relationships throughout: stop doing the most for people that treat you like the least.
Mm-hmm.
Stop giving all your goodies away, pouring all your love into somebody that does not love you back. Because that's how you become emotionally bankrupt and bitter and resentful and unwilling to try love again. You got to make sure, for one, that you always keep your cup full and that you love from a full cup, from a place of abundance. And you can't have that abundance if you keep on pouring yourself out to these emotional vampires. You can't do that. So that's my lesson, the most salient lesson that I've learned.
And I agree with him. I'm never afraid to love again. I will love again. I don't have no problem with that. I'm not going to let nobody take that from me. At the same time, I'm not going to sell myself short this time. I'm not settling for anything that's not 5-star. I want 5-star because why? I deserve it. I'm a 5-star type of female, and I deserve a 5-star type of dude. I don't sleep around. I'm not a cheating type of woman. Never have been. I've never cheated in my life. In my life, Tubies. Trust me when I tell you. And I'm not gonna put it with no dude who's cheats around, open relationships, threesomes, and all this crazy nonsense. You wanna sit around here lusting after other women, looking at porno, and don't give a damn how that makes your woman feel. No, I'm not settling for less ever again. Am I open to love? Always. Always. God is love, for God's sake. Of course I'm open to love. But this time around, first of all, you're going to have to put a gun to my head to get me down the aisle for marriage, because I'm like, oh, people don't have no respect for marriage. They just don't. They don't understand. That's a covenant. That's a covenant, a vow that you made between you, this partner, and God. Are you people serious? People who could sleep with married men and married women. What are you, nuts? What is their problem that they can't seem to comprehend? See, that's a lot of drug use. People's brains are all drugged up and fried up from drugs. They don't get it. Are you sick? They don't understand the seriousness of a covenant, a vow. You're not going to break a covenant and a vow to God and you're before God that you have made and get away with it. No, you're not. You're not. I promise you. Anyone who has cheated on you when they were married to you, that's the importance of marriage. People say it's just a piece of paper. Oh no, sweetheart. It's not. It's more than just a piece of paper. That's a covenant. That God, somebody cheat on you and they were married to you, God is going to handle them harder than if I'm just living with this partner. Yeah, we're just living together, whatever. Money is just a piece of paper. But do you see the power behind that money? Paper. A warrant for someone's arrest is just a piece of paper. But do you see the power behind that piece of paper? The same thing when it comes to marriage. God don't take that lightly, nor should we or anyone else. Marriage is no joke. If like they say, well, actually, black women are for grown-ups, whatever. Because you see, like a lot of black women, we tend to lag when it comes to marriage. Because black women, most of us, I can't speak for all ebony women, and I'm not trying to take away from any other culture, but ebony women, we are for grown-ups. If you this little boy and this little child, this little kitty nonsense, come on now, black women, we're tired. We're willing to help you be team players, ride or die to some extent, but we have limits to that nonsense. Come on already.
You have to figure out your own lesson, you know? Many will share that lesson, and that's okay too. But if you want to heal from a heartbreak, you definitely have to pick apart the relationship, pick it apart. Just analyze what the other person did, how broken they must have been, how destroyed and emotionally unbalanced they were. And while this is not at all, and don't get me wrong, this is not at all a license for their poor behavior. This is not me trying to excuse or enable that behavior. It's basically just getting a reason so that way you can move on with your life, because your life is too valuable to stay stuck in a moment, stuck in a second of time.
That's right.
You know?
Yep.
So those are just some brief tips, on how to heal from a relationship. But I also finally, fourth, pray. Pray to your Heavenly Father and thank Him. Thank Him that He removed somebody that was not part of you forever. Thank Him that you got out of that relationship alive. Thank Him that you were able to see, that He blessed you with sight and insight enough to see into this person's games, their lies, their inconsistencies, all that.
Yep.
Pray a prayer of gratitude.
Amen.
I always believe that the trash takes itself out. There are people in your life who know they ain't no good. They know that you are a good spirit. And over time, they just feel awful and they remove themselves, or God removes them. They have a saying, God's protection or their rejection is God's protection.
That's right.
And that's so true.
Yep.
We think that people are leaving us and abandoning us, but a lot of times it's God protecting us and keeping us safe, because a lot of people just don't want what we want. A lot of people in this world are just not good. They're not ready,
Yep.
and they're evil.
Yes.
And my personal definition of evil is a person that has hurts, but they don't want to do anything about those hurts. It's a person that has wounds, but they don't want to do anything about those wounds. They don't want to heal from those wounds. They want to use those wounds to keep on inflicting hurt on other people. And that is evil. If you don't want to heal from your wounds, if you just want to keep on hurting other people, and you think that your bad life and your upbringing, your bad upbringing is a reason and a license for you to continue to hurt other people, well, guess again.
Yeah.
That just makes you evil and demonic. And so if you're not trying to heal your wounds, if you're not trying to find reconciliation from your past,
yeah,
that makes you evil. And so a lot of people out here are evil.
Yeah.
And they lack awareness into how their behaviors hurt other people. They lack awareness. And so thank God. Thank your higher power. Thank your Heavenly Father for removing you from these situations that would have only just left you in pieces. It's also proof that God does exist.
Yeah.
And that His love is real and His love is loyal.
Yes.
Because He reached in and pulled you from out of these awful, awful relationships. Because He knew that there was a light in you. And so what you have to do is build upon God's mercy. Build upon His tender loving kindness. Build upon that.
Yep.
Take His love and build upon that, and use that as a role model for the love that you deserve.
Yep.
If you can't love me like God loves me, well, baby, let me tell you, God is a tough act to follow. So if you can't love me like my Heavenly Father loves me, you got to get gone. You got to get gone. You can't love me with a loyal love. I don't want it. So that's where I'm at right now, and I hope these tips were very helpful for you. I hope that you can benefit from these tips, and definitely leave a comment, leave some feedback if you have any other.
Isn't he amazing? That is my son, people. I didn't want to tell you in the beginning, but I'm going to tell you now. And I love him. We've gone through our ups and our downs, and we go crazy, and we do it all. We go into spins, and you've seen some videos where I have children, and I'm like, oh my God, disappointing, blah, blah, blah. But, at the end of the day, when all is said and done, my son, he makes me feel so proud. Yeah, and he's right. The point that I want to focus on If people can't love you the way God and Jesus Christ love you, you've got to get gone. I don't use that usually that terminology, but that's him. He's younger and all. And you got to get gone. And if you can't love me with loyalty, and I say this when it comes to my son, my daughter, my friends, or anyone who wants to be a part of Sheila True Love's life, if you can't love me the way God and Christ love me, you need to keep it moving. You need to really keep it moving. And the most important thing I keep trying to get people to understand when it comes to Sheila True Love, look, loyalty and integrity. That's the most important thing to Sheila True Love. And if you want to get along with me as a person, we'll never have any problems as long as you mimic. Mimic me. That's all you have to do. You see how easy I am to figure out? Mimic me. And when I say mimic me, that means to treat me the way that I treat you. That's all I ask. And also, I want you to keep in mind when it comes to trying to find or hoping for new relationships, like Derek Jackson, who I adore as well as Lewis Speaks. He makes it very clear. If you are a woman with morals, and if you're a person who have boundaries and standards, and you have morals, prepare to be single. You notice I said single. I didn't say prepare to be alone. No, alone don't mean single. Don't mean you're alone. But prepare to be single. SINGLE. Stress is now gone. Life's easier. Prepare for that for a while, because you have so many dudes out here who they go for the fruit. They go for what's easy. Instead of going for the fruit at the top of the tree or at the middle of the tree, they rather go for the fruit that's already on the ground. You know, fruit that's already almost is ripe and getting ready to rot. They rather go for the low hanging. Everything that's low hanging, anything that's easy to get for now, anything, instead of putting forth the effort to climb the tree, that takes work, to get the middle, that good fruit in the middle, almost near the top. Try to go for the top fruit. They're not going to do that. They're going for these women who are paying their bills. They don't have to work. They could be homeless. They're going for the women who are on the ground, that fruit. That's the women who are putting up with this poor behavior from these clowns out here today. You are the fruit that's on the ground. You are the fruit that's that low hanging, getting ready to rot fruit. That's you. That's you. Okay? Now, and I know it's hard for women because I'm going to keep it real, and I'm not trying to be uh, um, a woman who has issues with men, because I have many men that I admire, numerous ones, which I have listed them in several of my videos. You have a lot of women who are with these no good bastards. They keep saying, why do you women keep having babies with these thugs and these no good dudes and these no good, then you complain? Because that's what's out there 90%. I understand, ladies. I understand. At the same time, you're going to have to learn how to fly solo and learn how to be single happily. Single does not mean being alone. Let me put emphasis on that yet again. You have friends that could come over and spend the weekend, Friday. Like I like it, the fact, I could have friends come over Friday, Saturday, Sunday. After dinner on Sunday, they go home. And then after 2 weeks, I go to their place and hang out Friday, Saturday, Sunday. After dinner, I go home. You have friends, you have family. You're not alone. Like me, I like living alone. I have my roomie. She's perfect. I love her. I love her. She's the best ever. I like living alone. I can do it. I don't like being alone, though. I don't think there's a human being, too many humans that like being alone. That means you don't have any friends. You don't have any family. You have absolutely no one. That's being alone. Now, living alone, that's a whole different ballgame. I could do living alone easy, because you have so many meetup, you have so many Tinder, you have so many different ways to meet people when you're in the mood for them. When you fill up to it. I just so happened to was fortunate to land the perfect roommate. She's totally perfect. I mean, really cleans up behind herself. Don't have to fight about money. She's funny. She's a hard worker. She's brilliant. I mean, brilliant in every sense of the word. And she's gorgeous, lively, totally positive. She don't deal with negativity. She ain't about none of that. But anyway, it's you don't have to sit here and put up with crap. So you have got to have boundaries. What are boundaries? Yet again, it's to show people or to teach people what you will put up with and what you won't. It's to teach you. Let me tell you what boundaries is. I'm getting the clear definition of boundary because my son and I, we went into counseling and we were talking about boundaries, and I took all of this, everything he was telling me, very seriously and to heart. Because if I'm crossing your boundaries, Jehovah God knows I don't mean to. Yahweh, Jehovah knows, Jesus Christ knows I don't mean to do that. So I did whatever. And then I list my 11 boundaries that I feel that my children cross with me constantly, constantly. 11 boundaries that they totally cross. But anyway, what are boundaries? Boundaries are the guidelines that let other people know how to treat you and how you will respond if someone pushes those limits. Again, it's guidelines to let people know what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. Okay? It's when you feel that you're not being treated right. And when you feel that someone is stepping all over you, they are crossing your boundaries. And you have got to make it very clear to these people what is not working for you. That's just so not working for me, sweetheart. And I thought I would bring it to your attention because I realize that you're not a mind reader, you're not clairvoyant. So I'm gonna try to, work. We're gonna work with this together. And here's what's not working for me. And then you have an understanding. It's called communication. Because without communication, you have nothing. What's the point of this? What's the point? Really? Without communication, you have nothing. Yet, without communication, there is no relationship. And without respect, there is no love. And God knows this is why I don't tolerate cheating. You can't come back from that because without trust, there's no reason to even continue. There's no reason to even go on with this relationship if you have no trust. What's the point of all that? That's just stress. Stress accelerates aging. Stress kills. Stress is just going to constantly have you walking on eggshells, a tightrope, on a landmine. It's just, you don't need it. Who needs the aggravation? I mean, I can't do it. Maybe you could put up with all this. I can't do it. I'm not built for that. I can't do it. Like I said, you want to get along with me? Mimic me. Treat me the way that I treat you. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, Matthew chapter 7, verse 12 is what every human being on this planet need to apply. I'm not going to tell you it. Go get your Bible. Put a little work in. Okay, you know what I mean? Matthew chapter 7, verse 12. Anyway, my tubies, my Teletubbies, this is Sheila True Love, truly loving you always, 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 always. And don't forget to press the like button if you enjoyed this or you liked what you heard. Don't forget to share with other people who you feel can benefit from this as well. And don't forget to please, please, take care of yourself throughout this coronavirus and follow the instructions that we are given in terms of if you don't have to go out, please stay at home. Please. I love you. Bye for now, darlings.